cars, the C4R, I think the C5. And then, as he had been losing money for 5 years, the government said that this is a hobby, not a business, and at that point, he decided he was no longer in the car business. And there were several chassis left over that were never bodied because it was, as he lost money on every car, it was probably cheaper not to sell them than to complete them and sell them. So,
Wow.
and he'd completed enough to homologate.
Wow. Interesting. So you found it here in Wisconsin, and it just has remained in this general area.
Yeah, we're probably 75 or 80 miles from the farm where it was found. And the work was done here in Illinois and in Wisconsin to make it a complete car. And it has, because it was used so little on the farm, all he did was add a seat and a radiator and then drive it around. All the running gear is very original. The original shocks are on the car, the original brakes with the original brake drums and so forth are on the car, original brake shoes, original steering box. So that when a restoration was being done by a very well-known East Coast restoration shop, I was approached for photographs so they could make certain that what they were doing to the chassis was correct, because this chassis, for the most part, still has the original paint on it. I didn't repaint it. And
so it wasn't kept outside.
It wasn't kept outside. And I do have, in fact, have the original wheels and original tires. And the tires look as though they were barely used, but they're hard as rocks, but they are in my garage, and stamped on the side of the tires it says, "For racing only." So I think the farmer probably didn't do much racing driving around his farm, but in any event, though the body is new, most of the rest of the car is about as original as any extant Cunningham.
And so you basically just worked with photos and measurements to get the shape dialed in.
Right. I photographed the other car, and he made C1, 3 C2s, and then that one C2 body on the C3 chassis, and they're all a little bit different. And so the one I measured and photographed was the C2 body on the C3 chassis. The chassis are very much the same, slightly different in detail, and maybe with a variation of an inch or so in wheelbase, but in any event, that's the one that I
used as a model.
As the model, exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. Wow. So, will you race this?
No,
Have you?
I will not race this. No, I have a little vintage race car that's much more docile and much better suited to my level of driving ability. So that's when I
enjoy racing. Yeah. Great. Well, thank you for showing this to us today.
It's my pleasure.
It's a pleasure to see it. Thank you.